I would like to begin with an overview of Fancy Shawl Dance and the importance of preserving cultural tradition as a foundation for all Native dances. The next slide is a short video on the subject of cultural traditions produced by theways.org and was aired on Wisconsin Public Television Education.
Sometimes it gets hard to balance these two worlds. There's different responsibilities that I hold at school. There's different responsibilities that I hold for the Powell Trail. I'm a junior at UW-Madison. I come from the Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe. A powwow is a social gathering. This is like our way of bringing our whole Native community together.
Okay, I believe we are ready for our first grand entry, so we are going to ask those of you that are able to please rise, remove the covers off your head, to pay respects not only just to our stars and stripes, but to the original flag of this continent, our eagle staffs.
Veterans play a huge role because they went to battle for us. They went to battle for our people, and they always have. Powwows are used as a means to educate people. That's why they're so open to the public and everything. A lot of people classify Native Americans as, oh, they're all Indians. Well, no, we're all from different nations that are all really, really different. We all have different languages. We all have different ways of life, and we're completely different. Just from being on the Powwow Trail, you get to learn so much about different Native nations. When I was just a little guy, I'd watch those men's traditional dancers, and they always had a big impression on me, and I always saw them as, like almost like the protectors of the powwow. It's almost like I'm hunting, especially when you do the sneak up. You're out there looking for your prey or for your wawashkeshi. We call that. That's our word for deer. I started singing with Midnight Express a few years ago. Those people in that drum are my family. Sometimes, like when it's not a contest song, I'll get to look out there and see all those feathers out there moving and bobbing with the beat and people just jamming out, and that's a great feeling. When you're dancing for the ones that can't dance anymore. That's what they say. So you dance hard, so the ones that are watching that can't dance, or the ones that aren't able to make it to the powwow, can feel those feelings from here. I really try to encourage younger, I call them little brothers, on the Powwow Trail. That's another reason I dance and sing, is to help motivate these young ones to carry on our traditions. I really feel that I was put here on this earth to help pass things on. I want to see these traditions, these ways passed down till I'm gone and on.
What is Fancy Shawl Dance? As the name suggests, special emphasis is devoted to the shawls, with their elaborate designs and colors. The clothing for each dancer is specifically called regalia. The regalia is designed for each of the dancers' individual tastes and must adhere to the style of the specific dance. No loose items can fall off the dancer's regalia, or they are disqualified. All regalia are personal, handmade works of art with intricate beading, stitches, feathers, satin, cotton, leather, all tailored for that specific dancer. The decorated shawl is made of cloth and fringes and usually complements the satin dress color. Footwear are knee-high beaded moccasins or decorated leggings. While dancing, the long fringe hangs from the edges of the shawl and flies round the dancer as she moves to the music. The drum pace challenges each dancer to sync their fancy footwork and graceful moves with the beat. Although the fancy shawl involves more motion and agility than other styles of dance, gracefulness is always a priority. This is a film about Juliam's Powwow 2017 and was published on YouTube by W World TV. When did Fancy Shawl Dance originate? The dance came out around the 1950s and originates from the northern tribes along the US-Canadian border. There are several unconfirmed stories I've heard regarding its origin. My personal favorite is a reenactment of the legend of the butterfly dance. It goes like this. Many, many years ago, when the earth was still quite new, there was a beautiful butterfly who lost her mate in battle. To show her grief, she took off her beautiful wings and wrapped herself in a drab cocoon. In her sadness, she could not eat and she could not sleep, and her relatives kept coming to the lodge to see if she was okay. Of course she wasn't, but she didn't want to be a burden on her people, so she packed up her wings and her medicine bundle and took off on a long journey. She wandered about for many days and months, until finally she had gone all around the world. To this day, butterflies go on long journeys, but that is another story. On her journey, she kept her eyes downcast and stepped on each stone she came to as she crossed fields and creeks and streams. Finally, one day, as she was looking down, she happened to notice the stone beneath her feet. It was so beautiful that it healed her sorrow. She then cast aside her cocoon, shook the dust from her wings, and donned them once more. She was so happy she began to dance, give thanks for another chance to begin her life anew. Then she went home and told the people about her long journey and how it had healed her. To this day, the people dance this dance as an expression of renewal and to give thanks for new seasons, new life, and new beginnings. The shawl in the Fancy Shawl Dance represents the butterfly's wings, the fancy steps, and twirls represented the butterfly's style of flight. This is another reason you will sometimes hear the Fancy Shawl Dance competition dance referred to as the butterfly dance. Where is the Fancy Shawl Dance performed? It's performed at a convivial event called a powwow. This is an organized cultural event where both native and non-native people are welcomed to socialize, sing, dance, honor tribal history, culture, and traditions to bring the native people and the community together. Making new friends and cultural awareness is the takeaway for those who come to visit. Food stands are available Vendors are set up to sell mostly handmade items. Some of those vendors come traveling as far as Canada. There are usually activities for smaller kids, including storytelling. When the powwow procession begins, it starts with the grand entry, where veterans or local color guards enter the circle holding flags. This is the time for them to be honored and respected. Afterward, the dancing begins. The singers and drummers begin. The singing heard is a repetition of a specific tribal language, chanted with the heartbeat of the drums. Chant and drums are primarily used to provide a music beat for the dancers. There are specific dance categories with rules and judges for the dance competitions. During the event, powwow etiquette is strongly encouraged. Visitors should feel free to ask dancers or anyone with a staff shirt questions to maintain a respectful level of cultural appreciation. This particular video was published by the National Geographic on YouTube, titled Experience America's Largest Powwow. Take a look at some of these dancers. How to Fancy Shawl Dance. This dance instructor's name is Deanne Hupfield. She demonstrates a few shawl dance steps that she teaches to her students. She was filmed and published on YouTube by her husband, John Hupfield, and here is her lesson.
So how I was taught to come up with dance choreography was at the Thunderbird House in Winnipeg, Manitoba about 12 years ago. They taught me there to paint a box around your feet. And you would label the box with numbers. So like the back would be 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the same numbers on the other side. So 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can number off your combinations. Like right now I'm going to do 4, 3, 1. So 4, 3, 1. 4, 3, 1. And to keep your body balanced, I was taught whatever you do on one side, you do on the other. Side, step, side, step. One of my all-time favorites is crisscross. So it's pretty easy, everyone usually can do it. Criss, cross, criss, cross, criss, cross. You can do small kicks. Small kick, small kick, small kick. Let's do our own choreography. So we're gonna start off, we're gonna do 4 counts of a crisscross. 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by 4 small kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by 4 side taps. So 2 on my right and 2 on my left. 1, 2, 1, 2. So now let's put it all together. Criss, cross, 2, 3, 4, small kick, side, step, criss, cross, small kick, side, step, criss, cross, small kick, side, step. So that's just one basic way to come up with choreography for an intertribal dance at a powwow. Most dancers freestyle, But this is just like a good routine to get your body used to moving that way.
All right, song number 1, very quick.
In this last slide, this is a live competition of 5 top finalists of the Fancy Shawl Dance. This was recorded at the Fancy Shawl Pala in 2016 and was published on YouTube by the user that goes by the name of Amigo Kando. This gives you a glimpse of Fancy Shawl Dance in full competition. And notice that the 5th dancer, their top 5 finalists, the 5th dancer is off screen because her boot or her moccasin came off and she was the first to be eliminated.
Come on up. Come on up. We're going to pick 3 consolation winners. And stand by the Russell to let
Moccasin.